We are also following the latest developments overseas, where the U.S. says a Chinese fighter jet made an unsafe intercept of an American spy plane. It happened yesterday in international airspace over the East China Sea. The U.S. Air Force plane was undergoing routine patrols when two Chinese fighter jets tore past it, one of those at an extremely unsafe and high rate of speed. CBS News Foreign Affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan now joins us from the State Department in Washington. Again, Margaret, this intercept deemed unsafe and provocative by the U.S. What can you tell us?
Well, according to U.S. Pacific Command, it was a U.S. Air Force surveillance plane on a routine mission over the East China Sea, which are waters just off of China, nearby U.S. ally Japan, when two J-10 Chinese fighter jets came into the area. One of them flew too fast and far too close to that reconnaissance plane. And Pacific Command calls it unsafe. But they are stopping short here, saying right now it looks basically like unprofessional conduct by that pilot, but they're stopping short of saying that this was intended to really ratchet up tensions. The problem is, though, you put this in the context of what has happened in just the past few weeks. This is the second such incident. In the South China Sea just a few weeks ago, a Chinese fighter jet came within 50 feet of an American plane, and that violated a conduct agreement that Washington and Beijing had hammered out to try to avoid any kind of collision, whether intentional or otherwise. These kind of incidents are very, very dangerous, particularly in an environment where tensions are rising as U.S. allies Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Philippines feel very threatened by some territorial disputes as Beijing, in the U.S. view, grabs up some of those lands.
China responded saying that China has the right to take defensive measures, said that these patrols harm China's security. And when asked, in fact, if this incident had been timed to coincide with high-level China-U.S. talks in Beijing that are to be attended by John Kerry, Secretary of State, China responded, ask the Americans. You mentioned this, the rising level of tensions here, certainly now framing those talks?
Yeah, John Kerry was in Beijing just yesterday meeting with Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, trying to cool some of these tensions, not just about these territorial disputes, but there's also big economic issues right now, with the U.S. very concerned about Chinese industry, not only with cyber attacks, but dumping metals onto the market, that's hurting U.S. business. So there are a lot of reasons why tension's high right now. And to have this incident happen on the same day the Secretary of State is in Beijing definitely caught people off guard and raised some concern that perhaps this was intentional and meant to send a signal. The U.S. is trying to pull back from that, saying, well, you know, we're handling this through diplomatic channels and not trying to make things more tense. But what is interesting is what's happening regionally, as you say. China views this area as their backyard. They don't think the U.S. should be in there. They don't think the U.S. should be running these surveillance missions. And the Chinese Foreign Ministry said they need to stop.
Both sides with sabers ready to rattle, if nothing else. Margaret Brennan in Washington, thank you.